After Ilia Topuria knocks out Volkanovski again, then he's probably going to beat Diego Lopez. We're all going to be alcoholics after this. There's no one to stop Ilia until you see the online. Everyone's kept saying Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev, and Islam's going to destroy Ilia Topuria. And my argument is that I don't think it's that simple. I think Ilia Topuria has a really good shot at beating Islam. This fight's a lot closer than people think, and I'm going to break down this fight. And after you watch this video, you'll be like, oh, this fight's a lot closer than you think. Islam's not just going to destroy Ilia. I think Ilia is going to make it really competitive in this fight, if not win this fight. Ilia has the clear advantage for the striking. I think Ilia's boxing is probably the best boxing in the UFC. I've been saying it in all my videos. And I think Ilia should outclass Islam in the striking. The only thing is, people are going to tell me, but Max was able to catch Ilia a few times. Yeah, but Max was looking for the counter. Islam doesn't do that. Islam's really defensively sound. Like, he has really good defense in his striking. The problem is, if you always think about your defense, you don't really counter the people as much. He normally circles out. Islam does not like to counter you. Obviously, if you give him a counter, he will go for it. But Islam in general is really well defensively. So Ilia should be able to close the distance and get him against the fence for the knockout. Like Mighty Mouse says, it's called the void. The biggest problem is Ilia has to close the distance between him and Islam. Islam's a big guy. I think Islam's the same height as Max too. So it's going to be really similar to the Max fight. But the only difference is Max can actually counter. He puts himself in danger to hurt Ilia. Islam's not going to do that. Like I said before, he's really defensively sound. If you're always thinking of defense, you can't always think about your offense. Volk put himself in danger way more than Ilia does, ever did. And Volk was barely getting countered by Islam, barely. And in the fight with Max, Ilia was putting himself in danger just to close the distance. But it wasn't as bad as Volk. And Islam's not going to be able to counter Ilia, in my opinion. With Ilia's high guard and boxing stance, I don't think Islam's ever going to find a way to pull counter anything. Islam's going to have that high guard. And when Ilia gets too close to the fence, he's going to circle around. Just exactly like he did with Volk and Oliveira. He doesn't want to counter because it puts him in danger. And Ilia is going to put himself in danger, but Islam's not going to. He's going to avoid it at all costs and disengage like he always does in every single fight he fights. I hear a lot of people say Ilia's going to get head kicked, just like in the Jai Herbert fight. But with Islam, kind of like where he knocked out Volk. And I'm like, that's kind of dumb in my opinion. Jai Herbert only got that knockout just because Ilia stepped in. He got him in the middle of a combination. And like I said before, Islam doesn't do that. He doesn't step in with a high kick. He only got Volk just because he kept conditioning Volk from low to the top. And as soon as Volk couldn't block the body kick, he hit the head. That's all that happened. He's not going to hit the same thing with Ilia. Ilia uses a Dutch block. And everyone knows you can block really quickly when you block like a Dutch kickboxer. And I think Ilia is fine. There's only one sequence I don't like Ilia from the high kick is when he starts rolling with the punches, he throws up a Philly shell, which I don't like because you can open yourself to a high kick. That's in the right side. If Islam throws the right kick, when Ilia starts blocking and slipping the shots, I do see him hitting the head. But like I said, that's the one sequence I don't like Ilia playing. Was that similar to Dustin Poirier where he got knocked out by Justin Gaethje. I don't like it. If Ilia can close the distance, which I believe he can, he's going to have a field day with Islam in the boxing range. In the pocket, he's going to be hitting Islam in any angle he wants. And he's a knockout artist. He's going to be trying to find out that knockout. And I think he can knock out Islam. I think he knocks out anyone in 155 and 145 pounds. So Islam's going to have trouble, which I think Islam's going to do. From my experience watching him fight, is he's going to go for the high tie clinch. Similar to what he did in the Dustin Poirier fight when Dustin was having success. And we all know what Ilia does. Body shot on everyone. He did that with Volk, and Islam's going to have the same problem. Dustin did on Islam, and Ilia is shorter than Dustin, so it's going to be a lot easier for Ilia to get more power from those shots. And like I said, Dustin did it, and I think Ilia's going to do a lot better, and Islam didn't like it from the look of his face. I really don't think Islam can take down Ilia from the open with traditional takedowns from the open. Single, double legs from the wide open. I really don't see it coming, just because Islam doesn't have a wrestling background like Ilia. Ilia has a wrestling background, but the way Ilia stands also makes it really hard. He has a lot of weight on his front foot, and it's really bladed, which almost stops the double leg instantly. Can Islam get the single leg on Ilia, which I don't think so either. He doesn't blast double hard enough. On the fence, it's a different story, but just in the open, I think since he's so bladed and he sprawls really hard, he's so low to the ground just because of the boxing stance. I think it's really hard for Islam to take Ilia down. I think that's the biggest problem Islam has to do. He has to force Ilia back to the fence to even have a chance to take him down. Like I said, Ilia can be taken down. We saw it in the Bryce Mitchell fight. He got taken down almost from the open from Bryce Mitchell. But Ilia wasn't really giving any respect to Mitchell. He was walking Mitchell down, trying to knock him out with no respect. It's like there's like a new kid in class, in your Muay Thai class, where you walk down, you fight him with your hands down low. Like, I've never done that. I'm a good guy. Like, I would never do that to anyone, but other people have, okay? You know what I mean? Islam cannot take Ilia down from the open, in general, in my opinion, with those traditional takedowns from wrestling. I think Ilia is a better wrestler. He comes from a wrestling background, which is a lot more wrestling than Islam, to be fair. If Islam can get Ilia against the fence, his chance of taking out Ilia increases by so much you don't understand. If Ilia gets stuck against the fence, which I still don't think he can, just because he pressures Islam so much. But let's say Islam can, the single and the double will come a lot easier. Do I think he can take him down? I think he can. I think he really do. I think Islam can take Ilia across the fence and then gets traditional single and double if they're against the fence. And Islam's biggest strength in defense is his judo throws. Him being able to get a hip toss or the hip toss against the fence is amazing. From someone who's done judo for a few years now, I know Islam's judo is really good. Islam and Habib's judo is really good. I put these two together because their judo throws are really similar. I do say Islam does have nicer throws from what I've seen, but yeah, his chance of getting Ilia across the fence is really low. But if he can, this is where I think Islam exceeds when he gets Ilia across the fence. Just because the chance of him taking him down is so high, I do see Islam catching Ilia with a throw though. If Ilia is too aggressive, and again, if Islam get the hips over, it's over for Ilia, and it becomes a scramble back up. If Islam and Ilia get to the ground and it becomes a scramble for submissions or getting up, I would have to favor Islam by a lot. Islam's a lot better in the ground than Ilia. He has way better submissions. The submission he got on Dustin Poirier, I think, was the dust. That was beautiful. Ilia, like I said, is good in ground. He can handle himself, but he's no Islam. He's not as big as Islam. Islam should be fighting 170, but like I said, Islam's a huge guy, strong, really technical, really good submissions. Ask Bobby Green, ask Dan Hooker. Islam Makhachev is really good submissions, and that's no nod to Ilia, but there's levels to the ground where Islam exceeds so much. If Islam's on top of Ilia, it's over. I would almost say Ilia is almost screwed. I don't see him surviving if there's over a minute in the ground Islam. If Islam has a dominant position, he's going to go for the submission. He's not going to ground pound you like Habib and maybe ride out the round. Islam will go for that submission, and he's really good at it. He was able to submit Charles Oliveira. Obviously, Charles was rocked, but it's the same thing. Not a lot of people can rock Oliveira and still choke him out. Just like, Dustin Poirier rocked him, and he was afraid to go down. Islam's not afraid. You know what I mean? We don't know how good Ilia is in the grappling against the fence. Physically, how strong he is compared to Islam. We don't know how strong he is in the grappling sequence where he can scramble and get out. So all those two points, I have to favor Islam. I can't say, Ilia can survive like Volk. We don't know. We don't know if he can survive like Volk. So this second fight with Volk is really important. I hope they get into a lot of scrambling exchanges, a lot of grappling exchanges, so we can compare. Okay, if Volk can manhandle Ilia just pure strength wise, so can Islam. But if Ilia and Volk are somewhat similar in strength, this fight becomes a lot more interesting. I think I would have to give the advantage to Ilia. If Ilia can handle the grappling sequence with Volk, then you would have to favor Ilia in this fight. Like I said, but if Islam is weaker than Volk, but he still wins. Let's say he just physically isn't as strong as Volk, then we know that Islam can be able to beat Ilia in these exchanges. So this second fight with Volk is so interesting, and we need fighting exchanges in the grappling sequence against the fence. We need to know how strong Ilia is relative to Volk, and I'm hoping there's a lot of exchanges in this fight. Maybe I'm just coping, okay? Maybe I'm just coping because Islam destroyed Oliveira, and Oliveira's my boy, so I can't really do anything like that. So maybe I'm just really coping. Maybe this is why I'm making this video. But yeah, Ilia is only 27. Imagine in a year or two he fights Islam. So he's gonna make these improvements. He's just gonna be getting better. So I have to go with my points. I would have to favor Islam right now, just by a bit, not too much. But in a year or two, I think Ilia has it. I really do. I think Ilia style can beat Islam. But like I said, if you like this video, like, subscribe, comment down below what you want me to talk about next. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.